Hey everybody, Jesse here,
And Matt?
and we're bringing you yet another list doctor. Man, we're really getting up there on these.
Yeah, right? This is what, 7? 8?
Yeah,
Something
and
like that.
so we put out a call to all of our listeners for a Necron list, and we finally got one.
Yeah, right. About time.
So Matt, you got to go ahead and be our doctor for the list, and we were playing standard game. It's Crusade. We're playing big rule book missions because that's what they play. Normal deployment, 7th edition deployment. You deployed first, so let's go ahead and talk about your deployment here.
You have a spawn, kind of the spawn, I guess, star, and this is a wraith, a little bit of a wraith star here. So pretty much the game plan I came up with is I'm just gonna, jump the wraiths out in the middle. I have the overlord to kind of sit there and be my tanky guy. Let that fight happen, and then use my ghost arcs and my annihilation barges to kind of work my way around the side of the field. And obviously, I also have the Necron Lord on the douche canoe.
Yeah.
And let the wraiths kind of bog the middle of the field down a little bit. Let the douche canoe guy clean up anything, and then if he has to get in the fight, get in the fight. Use the ghost arcs and the annihilation barges just to kind of get around the field. But yeah, that was pretty much the plan.
Yeah, and I mean it's a very standard, very very thought out deployment. You have the annihilation barges kind of hunkering down. Now it was actually that's right. It was Big Guns Never Tire. I forgot. So it was Big Guns Never Tire, not Crusade, and you have both annihilation barges at an objective.
Mm-hmm.
So I really have no good options here other than to deploy, kind of counter deploy, and hide my butt off. I don't want to get shot at. I don't want to get early charged. I need to be able to launch the assault. So I deploy all of the spawn with the sorcerers and the Chaos Lord in the ruins in the back here, out of range of your guns. And then I go ahead and I deploy the Demon Prince with wings, Mark and Nurgle, and all that right up in the center. I'm not really worried about him. But because I counter deployed, you chose to let me go first.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's a huge advantage for anybody. Having bottom of turn in an objective-based game is the absolute way to go. You want to explain why?
Well, I mean, I can just walk out and take an objective then late, and I have the mobility and the range, with ghost arcs that can move large, that are all objective secured, and annihilation barges in this case, which are, it's heavy, so everything's scoring, doesn't matter, but I can kind of jump out and just take objectives when I need to.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's not much to go on my movement. I moved the Demon Prince up. He's in the air. I try to keep him outside of sweep range. And I moved the spawn up so that now, I can jump from behind this solid wall. And it's really your chance to kind of counter it. Now, I mean, it looks to me like your best bet is just take the pot shots, and that's what you line up for. What is your thought process on, okay, you see this spawn. We see you doing the all important pre-measuring, which I still see people play tons of games and they don't actually do. What is your thought process with the spawn? Like, are you worried about them?
No, not. I mean, in theory, it's kind of a toss up on who wins that combat. It's really going to depend on where my Mind Shackle Scarabs go to, and how easily I can just tank a bunch of 2-up armor saves when possible. But no, I mean, my plan for the most part is to just keep you at a distance where if you're going to come out from, I was measuring primarily there. I still think you have a charge opportunity, but it's a long charge. I won't give you anything less than a 10-inch charge to have to try to make. And that way, if you want to come out towards any of my stuff, you have to, I have the destroyers up top there. If you want to come out, you got to come over the wall, and you're going to give me the charge on you then, so I don't really care.
Yeah. So, turn 2, my reserves just come in. And the problem I run into is I have 5-man Chaos Marine squads on foot. Plague Marine squads and Rhinos.
I believe your Terminators didn't come in.
My Terminators did not come in, no. But I have these 5-man Marine squads and nowhere to really put them. It kind of leaves me in a terrible spot. Like, I have to get first blood because there's this douche canoe just staring me down where I want to go. So I have to jump out of the wall. I jump out of the wall with the spawn through the wall there and try to get the charge off on your destroyers.
Yeah, I gave you a little bit too much distance there with the destroyers. It made that charge a little too realistic. So you are now not flying. You're going to hop down. You fail your charge, which is kind of big. So now I've got the easy first blood opportunities here at this point.
So you basically you set yourself up. Okay, well, this is what I want. I want my Destroyer Lord to be. First of all, you want to be able to determine where your Destroyer Lord is going to go. So it happening on your turn's the best. Mm-hmm. And you got your Destroyer Lord. You got your command barge there. Command barge, you just do a sweep and then get first blood, and you now to tie up the wraiths or the spawn with the wraiths. Is that the position you want to be in? You want to be going after the spawn with the wraiths, or
yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, because those are both like the bog down units, and neither one of us have hit and run. So even if I eventually lose that combat, if I tie you up for long enough, it's perfectly fine by me.
So a big thing that helped you a lot in this game was your move through cover stealth ruins, because it meant you never had to take these dangerous terrain tests.
Yeah.
For just jumping back and forth in these ruins. So never really got a chance to immobilize any of your things. But looking at it now, I mean, so we're in this combat. You take some pot shots with the destroyers, you kill off here, but we're going into the all important combat, and with you being able to get your charge, and do it your way, like it's really a position I did not want to be in.
Yeah, first round of combat went really well for me, especially because we realized with the Mind Shackle Scarabs, I still get to pick priority because it's my turn, so I picked to have the challenge go first. So if you accept with your Chaos guy because you have to, now he's taking the Mind Shackle Scarabs, which wound up you failed the first round and he punched himself in the head once.
But then we have so we have the Chaos Lords, the spawn. I'm surprised I still shrugged off a better number than average wounds, mostly because I got the 4-up armor save from the spawn ability, and that kind of helped me quite a bit there. That and you rolling dice, which we all know is always ends poorly.
Yeah. So and you're still there on foot. I mean, this is the kind of the unknown variable is you having the demon prince who's going to kind of get in this fight here.
Now, the Demon Prince has Iron Arm and all that, so that means all of my attacks are instant death, flesh bane because of the Black Mace. It ends up being a godsend for when the combat is going on, mm-hmm. But I don't break the race. I don't kill all of the race, which is a problem. Because we're both trying to do the same thing here. Essentially, we're both trying to kill all of the fearless models in the unit and go from there. Now you have these destroyers that are up on the hill. The destroyer, did you like their firepower or?
I mean, they were definitely there. They weren't bad. I normally wouldn't take them. Their mobility was kind of nice, but as a whole, I mean, I guess it's kind of your only AP shooting options for the most part. But still not my prime choice. So my idea here at this point, you've got you tied up in combat. So I bring over my Catacomb Command Barge primarily because now it's getting me more Mind Shackle Scarabs on your Demon Prince. Mm-hmm. So I can make that charge directly at him and make him take Mind Shackle Scarab checks, along with your Sorcerer or your Chaos Lord on bike who's still in there. You fail your Mind Shackles and you wind up killing yourself, which is kind of awesome.
Yeah, I Danger Close Deep Struck the Terminators. I was kind of hoping to bait you out there. And unfortunately, it failed miserably for me. I was hoping that you would charge in and try to kill off my Terminators with the command barge and let me finish it off.
I've got so much shooting there; it doesn't really matter to waste time on them.
So this is where you start. So you still have your unit of Scarabs in reserve. We haven't seen them yet or anything like that. They're still in reserve. So this kind of has you feeling comfortable and able to move across the field and start pressuring. So you have the middle objective that you placed plus the back objective. So now you're getting the chance to use the speed of your army with being able to move flat out, things like that. So do you think that your army doesn't have what else do you think really needs to happen here for it to really swing in your favor? Because I managed to kill the Catacomb Command Barge into combat, and it's only your Destroyer Lord left. So we're kind of sitting on this weird angle where I'm about to break out with all my spawn, and you still have all of your vehicles, but you lost all your close combat punch. What is your game plan from this point?
At this point, we're on turn 4, and the field's spread enough that even if you get out of combat, you're still not going to get there with enough time to do anything. I mean, I'm on more objectives than you, so by the time you actually go to do anything, you're not going to have a lot of opportunity. You have to retreat the Rhino at this point, but it's still, you've got guys driving out, but I've still got the Ghost Arc thing that's going to move around. I've got so much, I have bottom of turn and all the ability in the world to just jump onto whatever objectives I want. That my point, I'm just trying to not lose vehicles. I'm trying to not lose things that can move 18 inches on a final turn.
So, the spawn finally broke out. I have shrouding on the unit, so I get a 2+ cover save. Now it's kind of go ahead and move them into the center, grab that center objective, and then move the holy dice train of wounds with them. I mean, nobody in that unit came out of that combat unscathed, which is pretty impressive to say. Like, I dumped a lot more points into that combat, and even though I won it, the Wraiths really put a beating. They're still a very viable unit. Mm-hmm. They don't like the close combat shooting, but in a close combat shooting, in an anti-infantry shooting, but for close combat purposes, they're still really tough. So you got all your A barges here. You basically, at this point, I see what you're doing. You're swarming my one open objective, and I do have a troop unit on it, but I mean, you're swarming it. I have the middle objective. You have the back objective. I have my back corner. So we're kind of fighting for these two middle objectives here.
Yeah, I mean, the big part also with being able to shoot is I'm dumping all my wounds right now into your Warlord, who only had 1 wound left, I believe, maybe 2, and then your Lookout Sirs are into a Sorcerer. So you're really not in a good spot, even though you're still rocking a 2-up cover save in most of the cases. It still doesn't matter because all your shots are coming into guys you can't afford to lose. So it's either what do you want to do, potentially lose Warlord, or Lookout Sir wounds into potentially losing
Shroud and Invis.
Yeah, all your psychic powers. I mean, obviously you really don't want to lose Warlord, so.
Yeah, so I mean, I just passed the wounds off to the Sorcerer there. I mean, it's really the only thing I could do. Unfortunately, I had to put the 2 bikes there to get the maneuvering I wanted. But I mean,
then I do think the Sorcerer dies in this.
If
I remember correctly. I
got him. I don't think the Sorcerer does, but I know I end up losing a spawn to, I believe, Scarabs actually, but that's coming up. So I mean, we're at the point where, can I get line of sight on the Scarabs? So I have to jump out because I have to try to get you off that back objective, but I think it's too late. I mean, the Scarabs having so many wounds, the spawn, sure, I could put out enough attacks, but them everything being fearless. Like, that was my problem I was running into, was everything of yours was fearless. Mm-hmm. So,
I mean, here's kind of the tricky thing you do, and one thing that's a good thing people need to learn is, obviously, if people don't remember, it is that to make a charge, you still go closest to closest for the actual moving for the charge, but you only have to be able to see. You don't have to be able to see what the guy who's closest. So what you did was you move one spawn up onto this little
rock.
Yeah, rock that was up there. So the one spawn could see one random dude in the back, which then made your charge still from the closest guy to the closest point, which was kind of an awesome play. People don't really realize they always think, oh well, the guy who has to see us will make the charge. No, it's still closest to closest. You just have to have some guy who's like, oh dude, there's dudes over there. Let's go that way.
Yeah. Or in Spawn Talk.
The thing is, though, based on where my closest Scarab was, even though you're in combat, if you don't wipe those spawn, my bases are big enough and the objective's far enough off the back in the middle of the terrain that you're still not contesting it.
Yeah.
Because of where my kind of spawn bubbled the objective out a little bit.
Yeah, and I was kind of, and that was my all-in play there. Like, that was the only option I really had.
I mean, the other problem you have here in the middle then is, like, sure, you've got 2 bikes on that middle objective, but I've got an objective secured Ghost Arc that can just jump up to the middle and sit there and hold it from the other side of the wall.
Yeah. And then, even if I kill the Ghost Arc, because I can only kill it at this point in close combat, there's 10 warriors that get out and still hold the objective. Yeah. Which you having bottom of turn, that secures you a win on 5-6 without having to commit anything for a turn 7 win that could potentially help me steal a game. That's a very important place to put yourselves in, guys, is always be able to win on 5 and 6 without having to commit.
But yeah, if you guys want to hear our talk about the list, check it out on 11th Company. You can check it out at tang2.com. That's 11th Company Podcast. And obviously that'll tell you all the information about what we changed, stuff like that. So in the end, I'm going to wind up winning this, but it was a fun game.
It was a good game. I enjoyed the list. And check it out, guys. See you later.